Hi, and welcome to Quantum Heart Rising. Today, I want to talk about the concept of following your heart. So, it's something we've all heard. Don't know what to do, just follow your heart. And the implication is that following your heart will lead you to the best life. And I guess in a way, I think that's true. But it's probably not in the way that most people think. Because I think that there is a really big difference between what our best life is from a soul and heart perspective and from a human perspective. From childhood, we're programmed to see success usually in terms of money and power, admiration, and that's not what the heart and soul is interested in. I believe that the reason that we're drawn and that we can be programmed to see those things as so desirable, wealth, status, approval, all those things are because most of us living in this world have questions deep down around our worth. It's something that happens from childhood. It's something that I will do a whole episode on because it's, I think, probably one of the most important things we can look at. But I just need to say, in terms of following your heart, that it's these deep wounds and questions about our own worth that drive us to want to have a particular life, a life that will prove to the world that we're valuable. The problem is that our heart and soul couldn't care less about that. Our hearts and soul know at a deep knowing level we are absolutely valuable. We are, each one of us is so precious. That isn't a desire. That's not something the heart and soul is chasing. It's a given. What the heart and soul is interested in is growing, is deepening, is experiencing feelings, emotions that push us further, push us to our edges, that help us to expand into a more fuller version of ourselves. So when we talk about following our heart, to me, that's what we're moving towards is real experiences that are valuable on a soul level. I'm going to go into a little bit of personal here. So for me, I've spoken in the past about the magical blue period. I will, as I said, I will get more into that. But just to know, it was a period in my life where I was not contained within the physical box and matrix, whatever we want to call this reality. It was like I moved through the veils. I was seeing beyond, I was seeing from that soul perspective where this is one incarnation, one of many. I'm playing this role, Christina Lavers, in this life. But at that time, that was just one expression of many. I no longer have access, direct access like I did at that time, but there's pieces that I just know are true. And so having that knowledge of why I'm here made it so I kind of had to follow my heart. And it wasn't always easy. I kind of hesitate because it's such a big thing. I don't want to put people off following their hearts. But I will just share. So for me personally, my heart led me to amazing things. So it led me to a country where I have a deep connection with the land. It led me to a partner who sees me, who I adore, who is my best friend. I don't want to make it sound like the heart only leads to challenging situations, but that's a part of it. So after I was with my partner, I started developing some really strange symptoms. And I was looking up, trying to understand, what could this be? What could these? Normally it was something I could just go find the solution and be done with it, solve the problem and move on. But this time I was not getting any clear answers and MS kept coming up. And I would just ignore it and be like, it's not that. That's not part of my destiny. But it came up so often that eventually I thought, you know what, I'm just going to look at it just to get rid of that fear. So it's not this daunting thing. Let's just face it. So I opened up something and started reading it. And it was like, whoa, that's exactly what I'm experiencing. So I made an appointment with the doctor. And the night before, I was lying in bed and it felt like MS was like the Schrodinger's cat. It could be or it couldn't be. And it was like when I went down into a deep space, I saw these two paths before me. One path had MS and one didn't. And it was like, which path do you want to take? And obviously, I didn't want to take the MS path. No, that's not what I want. But when I really felt into it, and just the deeper I dropped, the more I knew it was like, oh, wow. Well, the answer is I'll take the path that teaches me the most about love. And it was really hard to commit to that because I knew which one that probably was. And so now it's been nearly 20 years that I've been walking that path, and it hasn't been easy, but it's been a really powerful teacher. And I have learned so much about my own body, about my awareness, about my limitations, and most of all about being vulnerable because I have a really strong self-reliant part that developed as a young teen in response to some really hard circumstances. And that part is very much like, I don't need you, I don't need anyone, I'll do it myself. And that just doesn't work with MS. As I've had to come to terms with limitations that I've developed, and I can't do the things that once were easy. I have to ask for help or I have to step back. And that's been hugely challenging, but it's also helped me to really get to know these soft, vulnerable parts that I probably wouldn't have otherwise. And I just want to make clear, like, I'm not in any way implying that following your heart necessarily leads to something so challenging, because we're all here to learn different things in different ways at different times. And so, whereas that, from my soul level, obviously is something that was important for me to learn, everybody's path is different, and we're all here for different reasons. But the thing is, no matter what we're walking towards, where our heart is leading us, the one thing that is going to be sure is that it's going to feel right. And I think that this is something that is getting stronger. I feel like the volumes of our hearts got turned up a little bit in the collective during the pandemic. I feel like at that time, more and more people just couldn't live a life that wasn't aligned with their heart. It became more and more difficult to do soul-crushing work, to do something that just felt like it wasn't part of your purpose. And so we're just at the beginning of that still, but I feel that that volume is going to start getting louder and louder, and it's going to start becoming harder and harder and feel just not right. Like people have this sense of like something just doesn't feel right. And so I think that following our hearts is going to become more and more normal. I guess I'll finish off by just sharing some ways that we can learn to listen to our hearts because our hearts don't yell. Our hearts aren't saying, "Oh, you've got to do this," or those voices that are pushing us in a loud way are often wounded parts of us. The heart is just quiet. It's more of a frequency, more of a feeling. This just feels right. And as I said before, we're so programmed to be taking our cues from the outside. And I feel that this is a big part of the change that I think we're currently engaged in, is that we're flipping the script. We're flipping the script from taking the cues from an external place of you should do this or you should do that or this will make these people happy. It's going to be about learning to take those cues from the inside. And I know that when I say that, there can be a bit of fear around, well, won't that make people selfish? But the thing is that it doesn't, because at the heart level, we are connected. That's where we connect in oneness, is at the heart level. When we reach down within our hearts, we all come to the same place. So the more that we actually learn to listen to our hearts, the more that we step into who we're meant to be, why the role that we came here to play. That role isn't an island, it isn't in isolation. It's a part of something big, of something that is unfolding, that we are a piece of. And the more that we can get in touch with our own urges, our own calling, the better that's going to be for everybody. Because that's coming from a place of truth and a place of integrity and a place of authenticity rather than a place of trying to be something that we're not. So I think I'll leave that here today. So just to finish off, I just want to say on this journey, I value you so much. As I explained in the first video, this is a space about me getting comfortable, and it's perfect just to have a few people here right now, people who are in alignment with this content. And so a big thank you to anyone watching. And please share it with anyone you think might be interested in this content. I'm really hoping that it's going to grow and deepen as I get more comfortable. So thank you. And until next time, I need to sign off.